November 9th, 1983. Deep inside a secret bunker in Moscow, the KGB's top officials are electrified with fear. Urgent flash cables pour in from agents across Western Europe. Reports claim US nuclear bases are at DEFCON 1. Nuclear bombers are being fueled directly on the runway, skipping standard checks. Inside the Kremlin, Soviet leader and former KGB chief Yuri Andropov faces an unimaginable choice. Should he wait for America's strike to fall, or unleash a preemptive nuclear attack that could kill millions? Meanwhile, across the globe, people go about their daily lives. Families eating dinner, children playing, workers commuting, completely unaware that humanity is standing closer to nuclear annihilation than at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. How did a NATO training drill convince Moscow that a first strike was already underway? How did misread signals and paranoia push the superpowers to the edge? And how did the world escape destruction without even realizing it? In this episode of GeoStrat, we uncover one of the Cold War's most dangerous and least known moments. Able Archer 83. The world on edge. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind to the early 1980s, what many historians call the Second Cold War. In March 1983, US President Ronald Reagan brands the Soviet Union an evil empire.
The greatest evil is not done now in those sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint.
That same year, Washington launches the Strategic Defense Initiative, nicknamed Star Wars, a futuristic missile defense shield that terrifies Moscow. Then, in September, Soviet fighters shoot down Korean Airlines Flight 007, killing 269 people after mistaking it for a US spy plane. The West is outraged. By late 1983, America deploys Pershing II missiles in West Germany, capable of reaching Moscow in just 10 minutes. In Moscow, the newly appointed Soviet leader, Yuri Andropov, is deeply paranoid. He believes Washington is preparing a surprise nuclear strike. To catch it in time, he orders a massive spy program, Operation Ryan. Agents are told to watch for unusual details, blood bank activity, power outages, even late-night lights in government offices. The drill that looked like war. Every year, NATO staged a command post drill called Able Archer. On paper, it was just a test. No real troops, no live missiles. But in November 1983, this routine exercise became dangerously realistic. For the first time, the scenario simulated the full escalation of nuclear war. Moving step by step from DEFCON 5 to DEFCON 1. NATO commanders practiced new nuclear release procedures and used encrypted communications the Soviets couldn't decode. Adding to the tension, Western leaders like Margaret Thatcher and Helmut Kohl participated in the simulation, making it look far more important than previous years. At one stage, NATO forces even observed radio silence, a chilling protocol usually reserved for moments right before a real nuclear strike. From Moscow's perspective, these moves were indistinguishable from actual preparations for war. KGB agents across Europe sent frantic warnings. This is not a drill. This looks real. And when those reports hit the Kremlin, they checked every box on Operation Ryan's doomsday checklist. The Soviet reaction. The Soviet military didn't wait to find out if NATO was bluffing. In East Germany and Poland, Nuclear-capable bombers were reportedly loaded with live warheads, ready for takeoff in just 30 minutes. The powerful SS-20 missiles were placed at maximum alert. The Soviet Fourth Air Army in the Baltic prepared for immediate combat. Back in Moscow, the KGB ordered agents around the world to drop everything and focus solely on finding final proof of an American first strike. The Soviet Union now had its finger on the trigger. One radar glitch, one misunderstood signal, could ignite World War III. And at that very moment, one man in London became the West's unlikely lifeline. The spy who saved the world. His name was Oleg Gordievsky, a KGB colonel, secretly working as a double agent for MI6. Stationed in London, Gordievsky had access to Moscow's frantic cables. He realized the Kremlin's fear wasn't posturing. It was genuine panic. Soviet leaders believed nuclear war was about to start. He rushed to warn his British handlers. The USSR is not bluffing. They are preparing for Armageddon. Until then, Western intelligence assumed the Soviet reaction was routine. Gordievsky's warning changed everything. Instead of escalating, NATO quietly ended the exercise on schedule, November 11, 1983. And just like that, the nightmare faded. Bombers stood down. Missiles rolled back. Soldiers went home. And the public never knew how close the world had come. Reagan's shock and the aftermath. The crisis remained secret, but when President Reagan was finally briefed, he was stunned. In his diary he wrote, "The Soviets are so fearful of a first strike that they might do something reckless." This realization deeply shook him. The man who had once thundered about the evil empire began rethinking his approach. Within a few years, Reagan sat down with Mikhail Gorbachev in a series of historic summits. The result was the INF Treaty, the first agreement to eliminate an entire class of nuclear weapons. As for Oleg Gordievsky, his cover was blown in 1985. He escaped the USSR in a daring operation and lived in Britain for decades. He died in March 2025, remembered as the spy who may have saved the world. And if his warning hadn't reached the West in time, you might not be alive to hear this story today. Lessons of Able Archer. The Able Archer 83 crisis proved a terrifying truth. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't war itself, but the fear of war. Though it never became as famous as the Cuban Missile Crisis, many experts believe it was the Cold War's most dangerous moment. A drill designed to prepare NATO for nuclear war almost triggered a real one. Even today, with rising tensions between great powers, the lessons of Able Archer remain clear. Miscalculation, paranoia, and fear can be as deadly as missiles themselves. This was just one of the Cold War's many close calls. But here's the question. How many times can humanity rely on luck before it runs out? Subscribe to GeoStrat to uncover more hidden crises shaping our world and why they still matter today.